A very good morning to you. How are you doing? Welcome to another beautiful Friday morning. It is live Friday here on Family TV and on Family Radio 316. Every Friday we bring you interesting stories, different individuals sharing on issues that pertain to life, challenges we go through in life, lessons we have learned in life, things that can enhance your life to give you better living. All those things are what we focus on Lifestyle Friday. Now, today, I have a story that will encourage you and inspire you. A story of not giving up. You know, sometimes life throws you a blow, and everybody expects you to be down and out. But there are those people who are resilient. There are those people who have believed in their God, and they say, I may be down, but I am not out. They get up on their feet and they continue to move on and to have impact in the lives of others. Today, I have a very interesting story from a cancer survivor. She will be giving it to us in the next short while. So, if you know somebody who needs to hear this story, sometimes when you are told you have what we call a terminal disease, it's almost like it snuffs the life out of you. But there are those who go through it and they conquer and they survive and they become champions to let the rest of us know, you know what? You may be down, but you're not out. It's only until God says so. So brace yourself for this interesting and inspiring story. Let's get things moving. And today I'm excited because I have a story that will encourage you and inspire you. Joining us via Zoom, I have the CEO of Retail Pay. This is she describes herself as a go-getter, dynamic woman, and that one she is, I can guarantee you. Lillian Obeto, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank God. And how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. We are eagerly waiting to hear your story because I believe your story is one that is going to change lives and to encourage a lot of people. So tell us a bit about who you are.
I'll say many things, but besides everything, and above all, what I can say is that cancer has not defined who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that cancer will not define who people are. It doesn't give you your name.
Mm-hmm.
And cancer is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the way I look at it is that God has placed us in this world to do different things. At times, Lillian would have imagined that she wouldn't have been the person who is talking about cancer today, but I am.
Wow.
And so, as I talk about it, the only thing I can say and I want to tell everyone is that cancer should not define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer should not make you feel that you change your name from who you are to what cancer is doing. I mean, if it's a journey and you're going through treatment, it should not make you be who you are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way I look at myself today.
Yeah,
yes.
You've said that several times, that cancer is a journey. Take us back to where your journey began so that we can get to, know your story and what you've been able to overcome.
Back in the days, just as a young girl,
mm-hmm.
As a young girl who will do everything practically that young girls do, live, have life, date, do this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew about cancer. And having been brought up and lived in neighborhoods that probably cancer was never discussed, I was brought up I was brought up, born and bred in Eastlands.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Eastlands, a very nice neighborhood then, as we all know, where we had a lot of community kind of relationship. People loved each other, but at no single time had I ever heard the word cancer.
Okay.
When I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard about it. And my guess could be as good as yours, that even to date, probably the same is happening. And so back in 2011, I had lumps, mm-hmm. just as a normal girl. And I went to my gyna and I said, look, I have this. And it was obvious they were lumps. And they did scan. And at that point, the diagnosis was that there was nothing about, no mention on cancer.
Yeah.
That was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And as naive as I was, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
I left there at that point, and that was it. And I had no information at all about cancer or anything like that, nothing. And trust you me, it's very naive because at that point I was working, I should have known. Then sometime in 2012, and I could see actually the lumps were growing.
Yeah.
It's a bit comical because you have a body and you can see lumps are growing and you're not doing anything about it.
Yes.
And I can tell you, Pastor James, that there are many women who are going through that right now. Who are like me and they don't understand.
Yeah.
They're there. They're there. So then I had a dear friend who insisted, and I went to the hospital. And when we went to the hospital, the doctor, I could tell at this point that the doctor was looking at me like, are you real? Are you for real?
Yeah.
You don't know? Anyhow, so we did the usual. So what happened is that when the doctor suspects anything, so they do biopsy. So we did biopsy, and the only thing I'll keep on remembering is this doctor kept on telling me that we are rushing against time.
Oh.
I was wondering, we're rushing against time.
What does that mean? Yeah.
What does this mean? So we did the biopsy, and I can tell you, even by the time I got the results now from him, I still it wasn't very clear in my mind, like what are we talking about?
Okay.
So that in 2012, thereafter, so they said you have breast cancer. I think at that point is when I started getting into this situation that I'm in trouble.
Okay.
That's the point I started feeling that I'm in trouble. So I said, what do we do? Then he said, you need to get to a surgeon. We need to do surgery. We need to do, so that we reconfirm. And so I did that.
Okay. Did you talk to anybody? When you got the news, I'm sure this is news that is devastating. I'm just wondering how did it affect your emotional state, and did you have an opportunity to talk to anybody about it?
Apparently no. Apparently no. One, being that you're the breadwinner in a family, being that you're the strongest person in the family, being that people look up to you, being that also work needs you. So at that point, I didn't tell my family members, but I spoke to my boss.
Okay.
So I called my boss and I told him what was going on. And very supportive. They were very supportive. I was working and I said, this is what is going on. I said, so what's going on? And we kept on. So the person and the people who kept on talking to me was my employer. And this their family that came through for me. So, and so as I discussed, we did the surgery. My family never knew about it. My family never knew when I went for surgery. My family didn't know anything that was going on in my life. Yes.
Why didn't you want to tell them?
Cancer brings stigma. I tell you.
Okay.
Cancer brings a lot of stigma, and at that point in time, I didn't want my lovely parents to break down because of, they will not understand. For them, when you say cancer, it means death.
Yes.
That's the realization. That's what people say. That's what people think. When you have cancer, you're going to die, and you have like 3 months or 6 months. So people keep on asking you, for instance, certain questions like, for instance, like, what is the doctor saying? What is going on? What is the next treatment? Certain things that you might not want to deal with at a given time.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I did share with my family. And again, being that you're the one who more often than not provides, you don't want the people to feel like now everything is gone, and it was just going to bring a bit of confusion and instability. Okay. So it was better for me to just handle it on my own.
Okay.
Was that the right thing to do? Maybe not.
Okay. What time? What's the duration of time between when you discovered that you have cancer and the time you went in for this surgery? What's the duration of time in between?
The first surgery that I did could have been about within a period of a month.
Okay.
Within a period of a month, yes. Within a period of a month because of the CT scan, the biopsy, waiting for the result. And when I did my first surgery, I must say it was not done properly.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So
it was not done properly.
Did you discover that immediately, or did you discover that after a while?
How I did discover that was when I came to Nairobi, because at that point in time, I realized. So I had you have wounds, so you have surgery, you have wounds.
Yeah.
You can do math, you can walk. So over a period of time, I had to come to Nairobi, thanks to my employer. So I came to Nairobi. I met an oncologist. The first person who attended to me was not an oncologist.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that also tells you certain issues that cancer patients will face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I came to Nairobi within a period of about 2 months.
Okay.
So you can imagine at that time, within a period of 2 months, and I got proper treatment. I had another surgery, which was a lumpectomy. Thank goodness I was able to go through that. It was very, very, very successful. I thank God. I went back to Mombasa. Then I had to start. The doctors had to agree. They discussed and they agreed on my next course of treatment. So I started radiotherapy.
Okay.
Apparently, Pastor James, at that point, I couldn't do this back in Mombasa because there was nowhere to do it from. So I had to come to Nairobi again.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So I stayed here for a month. And by the way, it's not that the situation has changed any better anyway.
It's still the same.
I was very blessed that I was able to do the radiotherapy and it worked.
Okay.
I was very blessed that I was able to go through that.
I know one thing that usually becomes an issue when you have this kind of a situation is the finances. You know, you have people all over doing haram-based for medical bills and all that. I would want to find out how you handled your finances, but we'll talk about that in the next short while. Remember, this morning on Lifestyle Friday, we are getting to hang out with Lillian Obeto, who's sharing her journey with us. She said she's a cancer warrior. I love that word. That's a fierce word. Love it, love it. And to all the cancer warriors out there, I salute you today. I celebrate you. And we thank the Lord for you because you're still standing and you have a story to tell. SMS is on 20316. WhatsApp on 0786 316 316. On Lifestyle Friday, today we are hanging out with a cancer warrior, Lillian Obeto, sharing her story with us. Lillian, as I was saying earlier on, when families or individuals face this kind of a situation, one of the major concerns is the hospital bills. You know, every now and then we are called for a fundraiser for hospital bills and all that. So how are you able to handle that, considering that you're also the sole breadwinner of the family?
I'm grateful that I was able, especially the first time, I was able to my employer was able to foot my bills,
Wow. Okay.
all my bills.
Okay.
I bless God for them. And having the second time whereby having a young company and remember, like the second time, I did not talk about it. I did not mention to my employer when I had the second, when I had the second recurrence, because one, it was too early. I was just setting up. I was just settling in. And I knew I was going to be able to do it to work, which I thank God I was able to.
Yeah.
Irrespective. So NHS came through for me. Remember, also insurance are very risk averse. They don't take care of such unless otherwise, you know. And so there's an issue of the NHS. Apparently, and what I know right now, we are asking the government to consider is to consider having full treatment for a cancer patient, whereby you don't have only different sessions. Because, for instance, as you take radiotherapy, you could have maybe 30 sessions.
Yeah.
But the NHS would cover 20 sessions. So what happened to the 10?
Yeah.
And guess what? You are not supposed to have treatment. Just like the same way you get your prescription medicine and the doctor tells you make sure you complete this dose of amoxicillin.
Yeah.
It's the same case. When I'm doing radiotherapy, I'm supposed to complete my 30 sessions. There's no difference. So what happens? Where do I get money to do the extra 10 sessions?
Okay.
Yes. So that's one of the biggest challenges. And so the other thing now people will do is to try and travel abroad, perceiving that it's more affordable than to getting treatment locally. So is that a perception? Maybe not, because people I've talked with, they say it costs you like almost half when I go to India than here, same treatment.
Yeah.
And probably they'll also talk about that they'll get original medicine. I don't know, because I've been lucky enough to be able to get treatment locally, and I believe it is there.
Yes.
And I believe that if the National Cancer Institute probably will create more awareness, as they were mandated to do, for Kenyans to understand that there is treatment here, which could be affordable as well.
Okay.
If the government probably would maybe do different negotiations with different companies, because trust you me, you don't have to. There are generic medicine that are still good, that we can still use. But are we using them here? Because that will make treatment more affordable for most of the cancer patients. So you have to either do fundraising, and I'm certain you've seen that, Pastor James, nowadays, maybe a week, 2 weeks. You'll either see it on Facebook, on any social media page, people you don't even know, you get random. You can imagine what the family is going through for them to establish that.
I'm just wondering.
At that point in time,
I'm just wondering, mentioning family, when this second occurrence happened, did you also keep it away from your family, or did you let your family know this time?
This time round, they did. They did because, one, I was not able to walk. So there was no way out. I'm telling you, when I just look back, I thank God, because I think God has been so faithful to me. God has been really faithful to me.
How did your family take the news when you told them this is what you're going through?
One thing I'll say is that at times you don't give full information, you give half information.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, but yes, you give half information. Actually, my parents didn't know what was going on.
Oh.
Yes. We didn't tell them what was it. We said, I have a problem with my leg, and so I have to get a road. And that was also after a while. And I remember when my dad and mom came to see me, and I was on crutches, and every time my mom would be wondering, like, is this that? And then I was in pain. I've lost weight. I'm not eating certain things. She's seeing me taking medicine. She was very confused.
Okay.
Really, really confused. But there was no way out. We were going to tell mom as it is. Because, again, they become more traumatized, you know? So handling that was a bit different at my workplace. You know, having been that you have to probably at times go visit retailers, you know, clients here and there. I was able to do that by God's grace. If you ask me how, I don't know. I really don't know. But what I can tell people out there is this. It is possible.
It is possible.
It is possible. Yeah, it is possible.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Okay. We'll get to talk a bit about now your recovery process. How did that go now, having your family around you and your family involved? How did that go? How long did it take? And also, what kind of lessons have you been able to pick from this journey? Remember, it is Lifestyle Friday right here on Family TV and Family Radio 316. We are hosting a cancer warrior. Lillian Obeto is her name, narrating to us her journey, her experiences, the lessons she's been able to learn through this whole episode. So, Lillian, back to your journey. So here you are. This time it's different. Your family is involved. They know what's happening. How was the recovery process for you, having your family around you this time round?
the recovery process, as probably indicated earlier, it's a lot easier when you have people around you, because then there's support. The support, as probably also indicated, sometimes all this bring in a bit of challenges as you go through the treatment, and most of it will be probably physical. You can't do certain things on your own, unfortunately. So when you have such support like what I got and what I received the second time from my family, it was really a blessing to me. And so you have people around you. I have children, so that brings a breath of fresh air, because you need positivity, you need positive energy around you, you need besides family. The biggest thing that I also that was really, really huge on my side is that I had a battalion of prayer warriors who stood with me.
Wow.
Some stood with me, some would pray with me at home, different circles. So that was big time for me during my time of recovery, because even when things are really, really bad, then you have hope. You have people who are there and giving you hope that things will still work out. It will be a tragedy if you don't have support. It could be from family, it could be from work. I'm blessed that I've had a lot of support. From work as well, and I've been able to deal with the situation as it is. So, if an employer doesn't support someone who's going through treatment, you can imagine what that would be like. There probably just like the same way we have policies governing other elements like HIV/AIDS at the places of work. Could we have such? Because I know certain people have lost their jobs because they're not able to work.
Yes.
Right? So those are things that sometimes I think about. Would you also have policies governing that? Could we have, for instance, people who can't work and they're the sole breadwinners, they're less disadvantaged? Could we have a pension scheme that they could at least earn, even when they're still not working? So at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you have to keep also eating well. So if I have to eat well, it means I have to buy the food. So if you don't have the money to buy food, if you don't have a basic need like you don't have a place to sleep, if you're coming to Nairobi for doing probably radiotherapy and fast, you have to look for accommodation, or you have no place to sleep. So that becomes a bit difficult for any cancer patient. If they have to travel, and they don't and they can't do much, The other thing is that you have to keep on seeing your doctor, your oncologist, because at the end of the day, you still have to do scans, you still have to do different tests just to see how you're doing. So all that also costs money. So those are the things that I have to do every other day, it could be a month, it could be 3 months. You also have to be on on treatment, just to make sure that you're well, and just make sure that as we'll say that you keep the cancer away. And there could be instances whereby you have a complete remission. It could be instances whereby the disease is stable. You're lucky very much, because I know people who actually have gone into complete remission, whereby there's no stress of cancer in their bodies. I know. So people recover in different ways. And so all this, as we do all this, you know that at the end of the day, what keeps you going is yourself. You have to know that you keep on reminding yourself that this doesn't mean that I'm going to die. You keep on, because it's not easy, because when you go to the hospital, you have friends, you lose your friends, you're in a group, so and so has left, It's not the left thing that we normally live in our WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
It's the real living.
Wow.
So that also brings a lot of desperation to other warriors when that happens, and it can really be nasty. So you have to cushion yourself. And this is where also I've come to understand that as you recover, you also need a strong support in terms of Christian organizations.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there's any like that, because as I recover and I continue with this journey, I've also realized that that is something that would really help.
Okay.
Because remember, you're drifting away. You're not talking. You are not sharing. Sometimes people have to get information from you literally, sometimes by force. So if you have a support group that's Christian based, I know that would really, really, really help. That would really help.
Okay.
In the same way we do all our meetings in churches, we have different groups, but I'm tending to think that should really, really help.
In fact, at
the end of the day, as a patient also, you have to think about other people around you, because that's the other thing that sometimes we miss out. How do we miss it out? We become probably the center of attention.
Yes.
And so everything should revolve around us,
Okay.
Everybody should stop their work probably and stay with you, It's very difficult to work around that.
Okay.
And because, look, people have different things that they're doing. So a day will come and maybe you'll be alone at home. Okay? So you have to understand that life does not stop because those diagnoses.
Okay. I want to take you back to something, yeah? You talked about support from the church and all that. I'm just wondering, did this experience affect your relationship to God in any way?
One, and maybe this is something that maybe I would share. My son did not understand why God gave me cancer, and I was a believer.
Yeah.
And I know that thing that affected him a lot. First, let me just mention that. My son probably believed that we go to church, we do everything. I love God, and I'm born again and all that. So when he got to know, the first question my son asked me was like, for instance, why did God give you cancer?
Wow.
And that brought in a bit of desperation in him. I didn't know that actually my son was going into some sort of a depression. Of course, being that is my friend, is my best friend. So that's been a wake up call to me.
Okay.
Because I also know that certain health organizations will probably tell you something like that. There's something you did, and so. You need to look back and see what you've done, because it just doesn't come, and all that. So if there's anyone out there who feels today that God brought a disease to them, but now they're wondering, they're going through their minds to think of the things they did, I just want to tell you, and I want to confess to you, that God does not bring us any disease. It does not. He has said, and the word says, that the only thing he does is that he has good plans for us.
Yeah.
He says that he will give us good report and we shall be successful. The Bible says that, it will separate us from all the diseases. I've come to believe that we have to have understanding as Christians, even to manage this disease.
Okay.
Because then if you hear such, what happens to you is that if someone tells you that and probably believe it, and then you come to realize, no, that was not true, you kind of get that feeling that, maybe I should, this is not the right place, or this is not the right person. So that affects Christians.
Okay.
And the fact that also we've not been able to, because I'm a Christian, maybe I should also have taken a step of faith. We've not been able to establish like a Christian organization, because the way a Christian would handle this journey I think is very different.
Very true.
Because besides my treatment and everything that I get from my doctors and oncologists, there's the other element of spirituality. And I'm not talking about being religious.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about having faith.
Okay.
Having faith in God that things will turn out okay.
Okay.
Because at times, that is the only thing that is remaining. There's nothing else.
Wow.
Because if you have any report, and the report is bad, as people call it, I kept on believing that I didn't have any bad report. That kept me going. So every time I'll be told this, I kept on decreeing that it's not a bad report. And I kept on telling God that I know I'm work in progress, which I do till to date. For me, I never had a bad report.
Okay.
So if someone would ask me, for instance, about my diagnosis and what it is, especially my friends who are in faith, I will tell them I don't have a bad report. I'll tell them there's no bad report, because this is not what God intends for me.
Wow. Now,
but
Lillian,
it takes other people to come and support you. So where are these people, Pastor James? Where are we? Where is a Christian organization whereby I can call in and check in and say, and send a message and say, no, it's not happening? Because why am I saying where are they? Because, for instance, if you had a discussion with your main, maybe where you fellowship, or your main circle, and about the thing of maybe God as punishing you and all that, or they're just not there for you. Okay. It means you are in isolation.
That's true.
You have no one to turn to.
That's true.
Is it a time that we start thinking about that?
Okay.
Whereby I can call in and check in and send a message the same way we send messages, when you want to know Christ. The same way I'm going to tell someone that, you know what, this is how I'm feeling because it's this. And because it's for a particular purpose, then it means it could be a Christian-based organization that also has oncologists, as the community nurses we're talking about. I've seen how we handled COVID within 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Okay.
We had all these people, we were able to support Kenyans, and Kenyans would call, and there were all many numbers everywhere,
Okay.
Is it something that as Christian we can do so that we can support other people? And it doesn't mean that the people who call the number are only people of faith. No. You'll be surprised.
Yes.
You will be surprised how many people might actually just reach out and say, I've reached the dead end. What do I do? And probably this person is not meant to die. This person just need a bit of encouragement.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, Lillian. I'm thinking, it will probably take people like you, and others who have gone through this journey, to begin to create that awareness, and even to begin to set up those support systems and organizations that you're talking about, because you know how it feels to go through that and the pain that you had to go through in this journey. I'm looking at my time, and my time is up for this conversation this morning. Time has gone so fast, and so we have to call it a wrap. But I thank you so much for agreeing to come on board and to share your story with us. I believe somebody has been encouraged. So ubarikiwe na asante sana. And we celebrate you and all the cancer warriors in the country today, because your stories are stories of hope and stories of inspiration. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for our interview for today and for our discussion for today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Reminding you, Eden Tea truly is the finest garden tea. If you've not tried out Eden Tea, try it out this weekend. It is available at all leading supermarkets at affordable prices. Comes to you in quite a number of flavors: Eden Green Tea, Eden Lemon Tea, Eden Ginger Tea, Eden Purple Tea, and Eden Premium Tea. Try it out. You will not regret it. That's all the time we have for today. Coming up in the next short while, we have Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei. That's coming up next.
Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.
One of the most amazing things that God gave the human being is your mind. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Welcome to Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. Over the last 2 episodes, we have been going through a conversation unpacking depression and understanding what depression is, what causes it, and how to prevent it. We haven't quite finished that conversation, and we want to pick up from where we left off on the last episode. So how should we interact with somebody we know is going through a depression? How can we help them? Supposing it's a family member or a friend you know, and you've noticed, or probably they've even reached out and they're telling you, I'm feeling very low. What am I supposed to do?
Well, there are different ways in which you can get involved. First, the most important thing is that we assume that this is a friend that you know fairly well. They can be a friend or a family member at a family institution. It can be a workmate, or it just can be somebody that you meet in some social gatherings or social events, and this is a person you have known for some time. And you begin to observe them, and you notice some of the symptoms that I have mentioned to you.
Yes.
The most important thing is to positively engage with them. Do not stigmatize them. And don't you ever think that just because a person is depressed is a weak person. And that is a person who cannot manage his affairs or her affairs. Some of the most successful politicians, and we have an example of a prime minister in one of the Scandinavian countries who was doing very well and very popular. She became depressed, and she went public and said, I am depressed, and I'm going to take time off. That is a very well-known story. And people in that country really understood. And when she got over the depression, they wanted her to come back. So never stigmatize a person who is depressed.
Yeah.
Having said that, engage them in a positive way, find out what is happening, and very importantly, find out, without appearing to be judgmental, whether there is a possibility that this person might be suicidal. Suicide, a common cause of suicide is depression. And they say in every 1 second, 3 people in the world commit suicide.
Wow.
So it's a very common condition.
Okay.
So positive engagement. If it is at the family level, even long before they can be able to see a professional, you, the friend of that person, you who is interacting with that person, and I'm talking to the viewers, you, if you know that person you are interacting with, if it's a family member, if it's a workmate, you may be the most important person as to whether this person will get help, or if you cannot give that help, yourself, you slowly suggest to them, maybe we can look for somebody.
Okay.
And I believe that in this country, we have many people who have trained in psychological medicine one way or other, and we have very many counselors, we have clinical officers, we have nurses, we have trained them, we have even trained faith healers, religious people. Listen, many people, and this is a fact which we cannot run away from.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the pastors now. If there are any pastors who are listening, it's very important that they understand that they understand the symptoms of depression, so that when these people go to them, because by nature, if I have a problem, the first person I will go to is my pastor.
Very true.
And I don't want my pastor to start telling me that you are demon possessed, or this is because of something else. Maybe that is a way he explained, that is his explanatory model. But then I want them to understand there is another explanatory model, the one that I talked about, a medical model.
Yes.
If we are able to do that, and we get thousands of pastors and religious leaders to understand this, we will go a long, long, long way in treating this condition.
Okay. How is depression treated, Professor? You said it's a medical condition, so there must be a medical way to treat it. How is it treated?
Well, the most important form of treatment is what we call talking therapy. It comes in different forms. Sometimes we call it psychotherapy, but the talking therapy. The feeling that there is somebody who understands how you are feeling and is able to empathize with you, is able, as it were, to put himself in the shoes so that he or she can see or feel the world the way you are feeling it. That in itself has a lot of therapeutic effect, being understood. So talking, psychotherapy, talking about these things very freely. Anybody can do that. You don't have to be trained. You don't have to go for any kind of training for you to be able to understand that you can have positive engagement with people, the person that is sitting in front of you.
Yes.
Then there are other more technical interventions. Some of them have been, many of them, one of them we call it cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive is something to do with your mind, how you see things. Behavioral therapy is how you change your behavior once you change your mindset, and that will lead to improvement in your condition. So behavioral cognitive therapy, in very simple terms, you sit with a person who is going through this condition, and they will tell you the world is terrible. Terrible things are happening all over the place, and they may list 1,000, at least 100 reasons why they think that things are terrible. But then, if you reason with them, they will ask them, isn't there anything in your life that is positive?
Yeah.
And surely they will find something that is positive and hang on to that. If you can talk about that positive thing and how you can improve that positive thinking, start seeing things in a slightly better way, or shall I say a different way, you begin to understand that things are not as bad as you think. What you are going through, many people have gone through that and they have been able to overcome. The fact that you know somebody went through this and they have been able to overcome is very powerful. So in that process, you change their way of thinking.
Yes.
Then they will start changing their behavior and they start feeling better. We call it cognitive behavioral therapy. It is achieving a lot of significance in the way we treat people with this condition.
Okay.
Then, of course, there will be a situation where the depression is so bad, these people are not eating, they are not sleeping, and they have come to a point where you cannot even reason with them, and they are suicidal.
Yes.
And when you are dealing with people who are suicidal, you need to be extremely careful because you don't want to lose life. Then you can initiate some types of treatment and antidepressants that are available. But let me say that it comes towards the end. 90% of patients can be treated in the ways I've suggested.
Okay.
And only a very small percentage who need medicines.
Okay. Back to the whole issue about talking. One of the things I realize is that when it comes to talking, it comes naturally to women. Women get together. Women have got all sorts of groups that they get together and they just want to talk. But for us men, we don't really connect very well when it comes to talking unless we have an activity we are doing. So I don't know whether in your practice you find that it's more difficult for men to open up than women, and how do we deal with this issue?
I think somebody can see I'm smiling, and let me tell you why I'm smiling.
Yes.
Because I've just been reviewing literature this morning on a paper that I'm writing, and these people were talking about community cohesion and the community support. That is a kind of community that, and this was what that was done in the United States, most of it done in the United States. And they were saying that, or they rather found that in communities where there is social cohesion, is that people in the neighborhood are able to support one another.
Yeah.
They are able to come together and talk about their problems. Then this mitigates against development of depression. So sharing with other people, social cohesion, being socially connected with friends, where you can really go and talk to people, yes, it helps.
One final question on this whole issue of depression, Professor. I find that sometimes in our culture, people are a bit skeptical about seeing a professional, seeing a psychiatrist, seeing a psychologist, whatever it is. There's a kind of stigma attached to it. Anything to do with the mind, some of us still have the old way of thinking. And when we hear the name Madhare, we are thinking that person is mad. How do we change this perception so that people are more open to find people that they can, professionals that they can sit down with and talk with and sort out their issues? Because the other thing is, a lot of us think it's too expensive.
Well, I think we are talking about stigma. Please, never say to anybody, you are a Madhare case.
Yes.
Or you are a mental case. Never do that, because that is very, very stigmatizing. But having said that, I can understand why they talk like that. You are basically ignorant. Sorry to put this.
Very true.
Just because they do not understand what is happening, it does not mean that they can go to a conclusion that this is a Madhare case. If you hear somebody saying this is a Madhare case or this is a mental case, have pity for him. He's just basically ignorant. And I have no hesitation in saying that. If they don't understand, why can they find out what this person is going through instead of using their ignorance to make a wrong conclusion and start stigmatizing people?
Yes.
In fact, stigmatization is the commonest cause for people not to go and look for mental health treatment, because they say, what will people think about me? There's nothing to be ashamed about depression. You did not have a choice. And nobody is immune from depression. I can get depressed. You can get depressed. Anybody can get depressed. So stigmatization is as a result of ignorance, because people don't understand what is happening to this person. Anybody can get depressed.
Wow. Professor, thank you so much for your time talking to us about depression. Indeed, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I pray that with the knowledge that we are gaining through these conversations, you're able to identify if you're sinking into depression and find the help that you can need. Do not isolate yourself. Do not take it lightly. Find somebody to talk to, somebody who can get you back on your feet again. That's food for thought for today. Thanks for watching.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.